tragic consequences across the region. BP has operated in Russia for over 30 years, working with brilliant Russian colleagues. However, this military action represents a fundamental change. It's led the BP board to conclude, after a thorough process, that our involvement with Rosneft, a state-owned enterprise, simply cannot continue. We can no longer support BP representatives holding a role on the Rosneft board. The Rosneft holding is no longer aligned with BP's business and strategy, and it is now the board's decision to exit BP's shareholding in Rosneft. The board believes these decisions are in the best long-term interests of all our shareholders. And Bernard Looney, the chief executive, goes on to add, like so many, I have been deeply shocked and saddened by the situation unfolding in Ukraine, and my heart goes out to everyone affected. It has caused us to fundamentally rethink BP's position with Rosneft. I'm convinced that the decisions that we've taken as a board are not only the right thing to do, but are also in the long-term interest of BP. Our immediate priority is caring for our great people in the region, and we will do our utmost to support them. We're also looking at how BP can support the wider humanitarian effort. Now, there is no detail in this statement about how BP proposes to exit its shareholding. Presumably, it will be looking to sell it, but there are some cautionary comments at the bottom, which are the sort of legal blurb, and it basically says that BP's ability to sell this shareholding may be very limited indeed. I mean, the obvious buyer really is the Russian government or Rosneft itself, and probably the only other likely buyer is the Qataris, who are a 20% shareholder in Rosneft as well, but it may be unlikely to think that they would wish to double down on their shareholding in Rosneft at that time. Now, the statement makes clear that the shareholding is valued in BP's books at the moment at $14 billion. Bear in mind, though, Rosneft shares have halved in value during the last week since the invasion was launched. So the shareholding at sort of cash terms right now is probably only around half of that. And BP also has a number of joint ventures with Rosneft in Russia, which have a value of some $1.4 billion right now. So it is going to be a very, very substantial hit for BP, not only in the short term as it adjusts the valuation in its books of this shareholding, but also potentially what it is going to get when it offloads this stake as well. Also worth pointing out that Bernard Looney, the chief executive of BP, is separately resigning from the board of trustees of the Russian Geographical Society. There's been a fair bit of press coverage in the last few days about his involvement with that organisation, the fact that it's brought him into contact via Zoom with Vladimir Putin in recent months. And it is also known that on Friday, Mr. Looney was invited to have a conversation with Kwasi Kwarteng, the business secretary, who left him in no doubt as to the incompatibility of BP retaining this shareholding.
OK, Ian, thank you very much indeed. Ian King there with news of another move against the Russian economy. So how well or how badly is the Russian invasion going, and what does it mean for its nuclear deterrent forces to